Horror movies have been successfully scaring people for years. Killers popping out of nowhere, strange noises in the basement, and sinister spirits lurking in people's new homes. But today's list, we're not going to be talking about how horror movies typically scare us. Instead, it's going to show us if two movie killers are related, or if all of our favorite horror movies are connected and they tell us one huge story. Well, how's it going, YouTube? I'm your host for this one, Landon Do Not Sing, and welcome back to another Most Amazing Top 10 video. Be sure to leave us a huge thumbs up in this video by hitting the like button. Okay, and in the comment section below, let me know what you think would be the worst movie to be trapped inside. What would you pick? Maybe Jaws, the killer shark? I don't know. Alright, let's jump right into this list. This is the top 10 scary horror movie theories that will keep you up at night. Poltergeist Curse Theory starts us at number 10. This movie is centered around a suburban family who moved into their home, but they start to notice some pretty disturbing things happening around their home and to their daughter. But what makes things even scarier is that strange things started to happen to the actors in real life. Months after the release of the first movie, one of the actors was brutally murdered by her abusive ex-boyfriend, and then two more of the cast members died within a couple of years after the sequel was released. But wait, there's more. The little girl who played in the first movie died at the age of 12 years old from cardiac arrest and septic shock, and that was just months before the third movie was released. One cast member just managed to escape death when his plane crashed, and in 2009, another cast member was brutally murdered by an ex-convict who killed him with an axe. It seems like anyone who worked in this film was cursed because they used real-life human skeletons on set of the first film because fake skeletons were too expensive. I hope the remaining people who are alive got some sort of cleanse because all of these brutal murders don't seem like a coincidence at all. The Descent brings us to number 9. The Descent tells the story about 6 friends who are reunited after the protagonist lost her family in a deadly car crash. They set out on an adventure to go caving. They thought that they all had their safety checks in place, but they were sadly mistaken. The group of friends got trapped inside of a cave and they have no idea where they are. They must try to escape their cave prison before it's too late because they are joined by some creepy flesh-eating monster called crawlers. However, according to one theory, people are saying that the monsters were actually imagined by Sarah and that she went crazy and killed all of her friends. If you're rewatching this movie, it actually makes sense. She was grieving pretty hard and she was taking medications. She was probably experiencing claustrophobia and hallucinations, and in the film it said that she killed 5 crawlers, but maybe she killed 5 of her friends instead. The aliens from Signs aren't actually aliens, and this theory takes us to number 8. The movie revolves around a family who lives in a farmhouse. Mel Gibson's character was a priest, but he lost all of his faith after his wife died in a brutal car accident. Things became pretty strange when the family noticed crop circles around their cornfields. Soon after, they discovered that they were not alone. They are joined by scary looking alien figures, and they must kill them off before they are killed. And we also learn that the water is their weakness. Well, in this theory, people are saying that these creatures are not aliens at all, because what kind of advanced species would come to a planet that is made up of over 70% water? So instead, people are saying that these creatures are actually demons, and the water that was used to kill them was actually holy water. And now, in at number 7, Chris Hemsworth is actually the bad guy in Cabin in the Woods. Now this is interesting. The Cabin in the Woods is about a group of college friends who go on a trip to a remote cabin, but they're about to get more than they bargained for. The group became victims to zombies and monsters, but they also learned that there is a company of technicians who are manipulating their surroundings from an underground facility. Yeah, this movie it's really bizarre. It also stars Thor, or Chris Hemsworth if you want to call him that. So he should have easily been able to kill these monsters and save the world, but he actually died in the film. Anyways, as it turns out, people are saying that his character works for the facility, and he was the one that led all of his friends to the slaughterhouse knowing that they would all be killed. And I guess he got double crossed, and that's why he died as well. A Nightmare on Elm Street takes us to number 6. In this classic slasher movie, teenagers are being brutally murdered by a man named Freddy Krueger. And this is while teenagers are sleeping and preys on them in their dreams, but he ends up murdering them in reality. But one character named Nancy discovers that Freddy Krueger is connected to a dark secret that is kept by some of the parents in the neighborhood, so if she can figure out this connection, she might be able to stop him. As it turns out, one theory suggests that Freddy is actually Nancy's real father, which also explains why he's fixated on her and her house. He believes that this should have been his house, his daughter, and his life. This theory also explains why her mother kept his glove in the original movie. Fighting into number 5, we have the origin of the cannibal family in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is said that this film is based on the real life story of Ed Gein, who was guilty of murder, and he would take corpses from graveyards and would create trophies from their bones and skin. Well, it is said that officers who went into his home to investigate went absolutely crazy. They spent too much time in the house analyzing human skulls and things made out of human flesh, so they became traumatized and ended up going insane. It is believed that the officers decided to stay in Gein's house to carry on with the horrible acts and to continue to murder people. They became known as a family from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it would explain why the family never got caught and why the sheriff in the 2003 remake was associated with the killings. Number 4 introduces us to Sam Loomis. His name pops up in 2 iconic horror movies, Halloween and Psycho. So horror movie fans are saying that these characters are one person and these movies are connected. In the movie Psycho, Sam Loomis is the one who discovers Norman Bates' true identity. He was the one who found the killer dressed in his mother's clothes and brutally murdering his victim. He was able to restrain him and turn him over to the police, but he was too late. Loomis also discovered that his girlfriend is dead, so theorists are saying that Sam Loomis decided to take on a career in psychiatry so that he can help other people. Fast forward to the movie Halloween, we see Sam Loomis is much older now and he is Michael Myers' psychiatrist. Once Michael Myers escapes, we see that Loomis loses his shit and is determined to kill Michael Myers because he compared Michael to Norman Bates. This theory explains why Sam Loomis is so interested in killing Michael instead of rehabilitating him, and why he is desperately chasing Michael for 5 movies. Dewey was the 3rd killer in Scream, and this takes us to number 3. So if you guys remember in the first installment of the Scream franchise, we learned that Billy and Stu are the murderers behind all of the attacks. But now we have a new theory that makes the most sense. If you pay attention, there are a lot of plot holes in the first movie. There is no way that Stu and Billy were the ones who planned and initiated all of the attacks. Some people theorized that Roman, Sidney's long lost brother, was the 3rd killer, but now I'm actually thinking that Dewey was one of her closest friends. Okay, hear me out. It explains why the first killer was fixated on Sidney, because they were guided by Dewey, who acted like her big figure, and honestly there was always something off about him. The Home Alone and Saw connection brings us to number 2. I know what you guys must be thinking. There's no way that my beloved Christmas movie is related to a Saw franchise. This is pretty far-fetched, but you know what? Listen. But what if I told you guys there are actually so many similarities between Kevin McAllister and Jigsaw? People are actually saying that Home Alone is the origin story of Jigsaw. I'm 100% on board. Let's take a look at Kevin's characters. He's got a lot of anger issues, right? And resentment towards his family. He threatens the poor pizza guy without any remorse, films his uncle in the shower for ulterior motives, and he sets up a whole series of elaborate traps around his house that are triggered by the victim. I mean, he tries to kill these people. Don't believe me? Well, why did he torch one guy's head and electrocute another one? Well, it sounds oddly similar to Jigsaw, doesn't it? And on top of it all, they even look alike. Okay, I'm sorry to ruin your childhood, but I definitely think that these 2 movies are connected. And it was on purpose, because this is Kevin in the future. The Book of Evil tops our list in at number 1. This is the ultimate horror movie theory because it suggests that all of our favorite cult classics are related. In A Nightmare on Elm Street, the main character was watching Evil Dead, and in Evil Dead 2, Freddy Krueger's bladed glove was seen in the background of the cabin. But these connections go even deeper. The dream demons that gave Freddy his powers, it came from the same book that conjured the Evil Dead. The book is titled Necronomicon. This book also gave Jason Voorhees his power, and we know this because the book was found in his house in Jason Goes to Hell: The Final Friday. And to top it all off, Jason and Freddy met up in person in Freddy vs. Jason, so fans have speculated that all horror movies are connected and all these guys got their powers through the Necronomicon, which was actually mentioned in a short story written by H.P. Lovecraft himself. Well, there you guys have it. You've all made it to the end of this video. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next most amazing top 10 video.